Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Titus podcast. So, hey, if you're in a committed relationship or in a marriage, you can't have an acquaintance or a friend that's the opposite sex? Man, let's dive into this. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Titus podcast, and today we are going to be discussing if you're in a committed relationship or in a marriage, can you have friends? So this video I came across on TikTok, there's a guy talking about this, and he's basically saying, look, you cannot have any relations with anybody. I mean, I don't care what it is. He basically went down the line. You can't even be acquaintances with him. You can't be friends with him. I don't care if you knew him before. I don't care what. I do not care what the situation is. His mindset is, if you my girl, you cannot talk to anybody. And if you do talk to any coworkers, it has to be about work. And so I'm watching this video, and I'm like, man, I kind of see something that's just a little bit off about what he's saying. Now, there are some great things that he's saying, certainly. I mean, the fact that he even is saying that, hey, this is, an issue, or this is something that calls for caution. That's fantastic, because there's a lot of people out there that's in committed relationships or in marriages that's getting way too close to people that's the opposite sex. So, real quick, I'm actually going to play the video that I found and came across on TikTok about the guy being asked, can you be friends with the opposite sex if you are in a committed relationship or marriage? So, I'm going to play that right now, and after that, we'll come back and discuss this.
How do you feel about your girl having guy friends?
That's absolutely unacceptable. I don't think that men and women can be friends.
What if it was a guy she knew before she met you?
No way, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Is it no way she can't text or call them, or is it just no way she can't hang out with them?
I'll put it to you this way. I don't ever tell a woman what she can and can't do. However, if she does certain things, I'm no longer with her, if that makes sense.
So where do you draw the line?
If he's not your brother or your cousin or your father or your uncle, then you shouldn't have any communication with him, unless it's a coworker and it's only at work. You see what I'm saying? I think that men, we know what men want. Some women like to say, oh, I don't look at men that way. He's just my friend. And a lot of women also like to say, you need to be a little bit more secure, a little bit more confident. You need to trust your woman more, and it has nothing to do with trust. It has more so to do with our biological urge to be territorial with our women. After we claim her as ours, we're very protective over them. And not only that, men know men. Especially when you've been around the block a few times, you understand a man's nature and you understand a woman's nature. So, yeah, absolutely not.
All right, so y'all saw the video, and really, man, it looked like he came up with some great points, but I do want to dissect a couple things that he said. For one, I disagree that you have to literally cut off everybody who's the opposite sex, or shun everybody who's the opposite sex, whether you knew them before or met after you got in a committed relationship or marriage. There's just no way that you can live like that. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it real. That whole entire mentality is fairy tale land. There's no way at all that you're actually going to be able to shun and cut off everybody when you get in a committed relationship or a marriage. Okay, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Because if I knew somebody, okay, like me, I was raised in church, right? I went to church for 18 years, so I built relationships there. My mother built relationships there. We became friends with people, no matter the gender, of different families, because I spent 18 years there. Do you really think that my wife, by the way, I am married, so this is a perspective of a married man. Do you really think that my wife is going to expect me to shun or cut off everybody that is the opposite sex that I have literally spent my life with for 18 years? Okay, my wife and I met when I was 18 rather. Do you really think that she would expect me to cut off everybody after 18 years of building relationships with people? In fact, we talked about this when we got together. I said, how you feel about this? She said, you can have female friends, acquaintances. She said, I want to get to something specifically though, and I'll get to it in a minute. But she said, yeah, of course you can. And I said, yeah, of course you can have male friends and acquaintances. That's fine. There's no issue with me. There's people that you knew before for years that you were raised around. You just expect me to require you, in order to date me, to cut off every relationship you've had with the opposite sex? Yeah, you're crazy. No. Some of those relationships, you wouldn't be the person you are without those relationships. Some of those relationships are people that help save your life. Some of those relationships are people that has been there for you through the hardest and toughest of times. So I get in a committed relationship or get married, now all of a sudden I gotta cut them off. That mindset is to me is baffling. To me, that whole mindset is baffling. But I do like some of the things that he says, though. I do like how he points out that, hey, men, we have a certain nature, right? So we got to be careful. Women, they got a certain nature, so they got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Basically, what I'm trying to say is to shun or cut somebody off of the opposite gender altogether when you get in a relationship or married, it's unrealistic. I want to get to a word. This is what I was talking about earlier. I'm going to get to a word, and that is where we are going to base my side of view off of. And that word is boundaries. Boundaries. There are certain boundaries that you have to put up as a man, as a woman, especially as a grown man or woman. You know yourself. So there's certain boundaries you have to put up. There's certain people that you can be friends with. There's certain people that you can be acquaintances with that is the opposite sex. But because the boundaries you have up, because the wall you have up, you know that when there's a certain point where it's done. It stops. Right? So maybe there's something funny or something that goes on. Maybe I showing there's somebody I talk to on my job. She's the opposite sex, but we'll talk every now and again. It's not always about work. He mentioned, well, if it's a coworker, that's fine, but it got to be about work. No, and my wife knows her. My wife is actually cool with her. We both are cool with this individual. So sometimes I may be on Facebook scrolling at work if I have downtime. Then I'll go to her. Hey, look at this meme I found. Hey, look at it. Or sometimes we'll talk. Hey, how's your family doing? We'll talk about each other's family. Hey, how's your family doing? Hey, there's a new restaurant. And she mentioned to me the other day. Hey, there's a restaurant. You and your wife should try this. Because my wife and I like trying new restaurants. Right, so just basic things we talk about. There's nothing wrong with that. And I've known her for more than a year, and it has never led to anything because there's a boundary that's set up. We only talking about general things or work things. That's it. There's a boundary. Now, there are some women where me personally, as a married man, I cannot talk to because I know they're attractive to me. And there's a certain way that I have to carry myself around them. There's a certain boundary I have to set up around them because I know how easy it is to let things creep in to a serious relationship or a marriage. It's easy if you don't have no boundaries. See, what this guy means is he's talking to people that don't have no boundaries. If you are an adult man and you know yourself, adult woman, and you know yourself, and you set up boundaries, this ain't you ain't got to worry about this. You ain't got to walk around with restriction and stuff on you. Female walks by you that is nice, speaks, hey, how you doing? You just keep walking. You at work, maybe a coworker says, hey, do you try that new restaurant down the road? Man, we all should go out to lunch and try that. Oh, you just don't respond. You just keep walking. No, you can make conversation with different. You can have acquaintances or be friends with different people. And real quick, I just want to point out what friend means, because I think that when we say friend, I think that we automatically go to, oh, this is a person we hang out with all the time. This is a person we text and call all the time. That's not necessarily a friend. Okay? That I would consider that a best friend, somebody you call, text, go to for hard times, hang out with, party, go to the bars with, the clubs, or top golf, or sing something, main event, whatever the case may be. That's a friend. Ice skating rink or something. That's a friend. That's a best friend in my opinion. But I think a friend is just somebody who you know that you can have conversation with. I think that's what a friend is. Somebody you know that you can depend on to be there for you. Somebody you can have conversation with. Definition of the word friend is one attached to another by affection or esteem. Affection is a feeling of liking and caring for someone or something, right? So if I care for somebody, that doesn't mean I'm attracted to them in a sexual manner, right? You can care for anybody. If something were to happen to people that I know, male or female, I would be distraught. You should build relationships with that person. Same with my wife. If my wife had somebody, male or female, that she was friends with, especially if she was friends with them for years before we even met, if something happened to them, I'm sure she would be distraught. So we care about people. So when you're in a committed relationship or married, advice like this is just unrealistic, and this is one of the reasons why there's so many complications with dating nowadays. There's a word that needs to be popular among dating and among marriages nowadays, and it's called boundaries. And that's one of the reasons why that relationships or marriages can't last, because they don't have this thing that's called boundaries. But this is too extreme. Okay, because what boundaries is balance. I like that. Boundaries is balance. This right here is too far. And then on the flip side, if you just talk to everybody in creation, no matter what, I may be attracted to this person, maybe attracted to that person, attracted to this person, attracted to that person. Maybe I even had a history with this person. If you got a history with somebody, you dated in the past, or you liked them significantly in the past. There's literally somebody, me personally, I don't talk to because of our past. I don't talk to them. I'm not friends with them on social media or nothing. I don't even talk to them because we had a past. That is different. Now, that person I will shun conversation with. Because we had a past. Now, that's a whole different story right there. But guess what that is? It's boundaries. Boundaries equals balance. Okay? You won't want to cut off everybody in general. That's the opposite sex, but you also don't want to open the door up to everybody. You married or in a committed relationship, your ex is just y'all just texting away. It's like, what? Whoa, your wife or husband sees the phone. What are you doing? Like, you texting why you oh, it's nothing. Nah, come on. You gotta have boundaries, my man. You gotta have boundaries. Young woman, you gotta have boundaries, because boundaries equals balance. And that is the recipe for a great relationship or marriage. So, just wanted to cover that. Hey, you can have acquaintances, you can have friends, especially if you knew them before you met your significant other. But always remember to have boundaries, because boundaries equals balance. And thank y'all so much for watching. Please like this video. Please comment any thoughts you have. Please subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you can be notified anytime I drop a video on the Titus Bear podcast. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.